But neither this thug on the ground or Diggs himself know truly what the hell is wrong with Jeremiah Diggs, and he, in swift work, kills this kid, this young man.
And it's messy, and it's quick.
And then he walks back up the stairs.
Upstairs, Ephraim sort of takes a moment to catch his breath, and then he remembers Rudy laying there, and he sort of crawls across the floor to Rudy and rolls him over and does the like, ooh, when he rolls him over because he sees this knife just sticking out of him, and he's like, oh, and I'm going to try my best to do a medicine check to stabilize him here. It actually won't be too bad. Okay, here we go. Nah. Oh, that's a 10, baby. That's a 10.
Yeah.
Stabilize, sucker.
Perfect. So Rudy is stabilized, but certainly bleeding out.
Yeah, and what I imagine is that Ephraim does little more than just wrap like cloth around the knife. So he's no longer bleeding, but there's still a knife in his gut. And Ephraim is like, I don't want to pull that out and kill him, so I'm just going to leave it there for now. And he also takes a hearty swig of whatever liquor is nearest to him.
And as you do so you reach to take a hearty swig of the liquor, and you can't help but wince as you see that the jar of water was knocked over and is shattered on the ground.
No.
And the blood is mingling with the water. Rudy's blood and these other thugs' blood is sort of mingling with the water, and it's running into the floorboards, and you can hear the basement just...
And I guess the person closest to me is Garrick, so I look at him and go, you okay, man?
Yes, I'm out of breath. I'm okay. Who is no, I can't remember her name. Is she still around?
Yeah, is Rivera still around?
So you would look up to the loft,
Rovira?
and she would be gone.
Oh, dang, son.
Okay, so I would say, who was that with you up there?
That was the past coming back to haunt me. Clancy tried to kill me. I got the jump on him. I think he's alive. I beat him pretty bad. I kind of lost track of time. I think I broke a couple fingers. We should probably go pick him up, make sure he doesn't run off.
And
should
Rudy, like lying on the ground, like you said, you tied this, or you like wrapped it around, like you kind of packed it in around this blade. And I'm just kind of like, and like just kind of like a jerk, you say that, you know, all that happens, and Rudy is kind of like trying to get your attention, like, and he says like half of it. He's like, sunny days, you know. He's kind of like, you know, you get it, like, dude, like sharing in the frustration of, we all kind of knew it, you know, but like, what do you do? Would you just not trust anybody? So he gives you a hard time for that.
And I would kind of slump on the floor, and I'm just, the sword is still kind of wobbling in that corpse, and I'm just looking at it. I thought at worst he might tip somebody off. I didn't know he was the one that shot Kathleen. That's what she said anyway. He was the one that did it.
And just sort of a groan, like, oh, like remembering the time that he spent, you know, with this guy that did what he did after we buried our friend. And it's just like that Dragongrin feeling, like that Boston song about it. Like, you've got that Dragongrin feeling. I don't think that's a Boston song.
That's not Boston.
That is the Righteous Brothers of Spear Below.
Just that sort of thing.
It's a meme. Hashtag that Dragongrin feeling when your when your childhood friend kills your party member.
Dragongrin goals, baby. That's the way. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, just like Rudy kind of runs through all the time they spent with him, and just thinks like, like what a disgusting person, you know.
When you mentioned Kathleen, I think after a short moment, Diggs will get up and he'll walk to kind of the center of this room, and he'll take this mattock and he'll just slam it into the ground so it sticks. And he says, "It's only a matter of time before we all end up with our own epitaphs." And he thinks about that carved K. And he says, "But until that moment, for the people in this room, you're the ones I trust. I'll die before that happens."
Same here. And he kind of like reaches. He's just like reaching out for everybody. I feel like I'm in a hospital bed, but instead it's just a dusty floor covered in blood and other people. But it's just like, you know, like just shares the sentiment. But like, oh man, this is gonna hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, and Garrick kind of, for the first time, feels where he got cut and pulls his hand away from his arm. There's blood there. I imagine I kind of take my pack out and just try to find some piece of fabric or something like that and quickly bandage it up and say, we should go and look for Clancy. Hopefully he didn't get away.
Yeah, I should probably go make sure. Maybe she might have grabbed him. I kind of look at Garrick and say, "You want to come with me? Make sure we don't get jumped."
Yes.
So I'll sort of head out the front door, leading Garrick. And Tim, I'd like to, use that city secrets thing again to get back to where Clancy and I fought as quickly as possible.
And I would even say that in doing so, you're able to take an alternate route so that you would be hidden, not coming up in plain sight, and you're able to do it quickly. And you can see that there's a tipped over lantern and a bunch of dust and some spatters of blood, and he's nowhere to be found.
And I kick the lantern. Son of a bitch! I knew he wasn't going to be here. I had to check. And I would look at Garrick and just say, "I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. I thought if I could trust anyone, it would be the guy who stole my girlfriend. Why would I think that would be a good idea? I'm sorry."
No, it's fine. Let's go back.
Yeah. And so there's nothing. You said there was just the lantern, and they didn't leave anything else.
No, it's
okay.
Just they know what they're doing.
Right. So yeah, I would go. Garrick and I would just head back then.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go.
Okay. And I imagine I would want to check out that room. I guess the lower level, I should say. And just see what's going on down there. If there's more hidden areas or anything like that.
And when it's my turn, I want to go check out the lower level too. I'm really happy I let you go first there, Nate.
Can we hold hands?
In fact, I'm going to do it in a cool way and pull the mattock back and pry open a wood plank to do it dramatically. And then I'm going to do it like 9 more times.
Just want to make a really wide entrance here.
So as you go down into this room, this is a room that they must have used often. So what you've actually found was probably like a Savick family safe house or murder house, whatever it is. So underneath there is a planning room. There's a table. There's plans, maps, and specifically, it looks like there are a couple of chests in the corner and a couple of cabinets.
I would like to open the cabinet. A cabinet.
So you go to, you do that and it's locked.
Do you think oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would just say to Diggs, looks like this one is locked.
Diggs picks up his mattock and attempts to solve that problem on all the cabinets if possible.
And you do so quickly. And so there's 2 cabinets, 2 chests, and then what looks like maybe a sliding sort of door. And you sort of make short work of all of it with that mattock. The wood's old, and it's locked as more of a formality, I think.
Ephraim's pulling out his lock picks.
He's like,
but clunk, clunk.
So inside of here, you see that it's rations, water, some different patchwork, but nice and kept pieces of armor. There's also weapons of various kinds, different ammunition for weapons and things of that nature. So this must have been, kept their things if they needed to come here, gear up, and go out and take care of something. So you stumbled upon a fortune in Dragongrin, essentially.
Diggs is packing stuff into a pack. I am maybe if it'd be cool, I might be able to build like a Dungeoneers or a explorer's pack or something out of the materials.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. There's plenty of stuff.
But actually, halfway through packing this bag, he looks to Garrick and says, "Now, how safe do you think we are here? Because we might want to stay."
I don't think we want to do that. They know this place. They used it.
Of course they did. Look how damn useful it is. I'm just saying maybe it could be useful for us.
I don't know. There have to have been more people who came here and left and I don't think we killed everyone who knew about this.
After a long moment, he nods and says, "No, you're probably right. I've had a lot of stupid ideas lately."
Keep them coming. Ideas are ideas. I mean, let's work on this chest here. And I go and
That's
I would
what you said.
try
And
to-
yeah, you go, "Yep, let's open the chest."
So in it,
I'm sorry. I think it's legs day. My bad.
Spot me, bro.
It's leg day.
It's legs day.
Oh God, that was the perfect way to say it too, as Garrick. Oh, it's legs day. So this would essentially be where they kept the money, but in Dustmouth, this is a double locked chest, and you shatter it open, and in there you see carefully canteened water. And this is the equivalent of finding, like I said, a box of rubies or gold in the Dustmouth. And so it's enough for a while.
Nice.
And,
This is very good. Very good.
And it would be difficult to carry around. I'm just saying it's worth a conversation when we see the rest of them.
It's a big town. I think we could probably find another place. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe.
it's a small town. What am I talking about?
It's Blint. What are we talking about here?
And I imagine that while Diggs and Garrick are downstairs sort of grabbing gear and stuff, Ephraim is just sitting upstairs with Rudy, and I imagine Rudy is still laying there kind of like with the dagger in his gut, and Ephraim's sitting on a bench near him, just doing that, like spinning his sword on the ground, like spinning the pommel of it so that the blade spins in the ground. We're going to have to find someone that can stitch you up.
hopefully someone that won't betray us. And Rudy kind of makes the point, like, yeah, it's hard enough to find a normal person in Dragongrin, let alone a normal person that will help you.
If she hadn't just exposed herself as a assassin, I would suggest that we go to Creaking Tree and find my old girlfriend, but clearly that's not going to happen. But Creaking Tree is the nearest town, and at least before I left, they had an apothecary.
Well, based on what your friend said, that's where the stains are. I guess Rudy wouldn't know anything about the crime family, right? He wouldn't know that we killed Donovan or anything, so he wouldn't know that. So he'd probably be like, yeah, he's down. But isn't that where like their home base is, basically? That was what he said to him. Meta knowledge, what he said earlier. So I guess Rudy wouldn't know that, but he would be like, yeah, that sounds good to me. But he would just be nervous, just generally paranoid to go to a populated place after having been almost crucified.
Yeah, and Ephraim would definitely share the concern, but he would say we'd be going deeper into the heart of whoever's looking to kill us, but there'd be more people, easier to hide. I know the city better. We can go if we want, but I'm done suggesting ideas because I'm the one who got us into this mess.
You make some good points, but... And Rudy kind of thinks for a minute. He says, I think we all did... We all got ourselves into this mess. You were up on a cross, same as me. And I know we haven't really talked about why that was, and he looks kind of down at this sort of dagger he's kind of holding, feeling it almost become a part of him. Like, still hurts like hell, but it's becoming a little too normal to have something, stuck in his gut. Maybe now's not the time either, but, well, don't put it all on yourself, young man.
Yeah. Well, knowing me, I probably will, but I appreciate the sentiment at least. Well, maybe we can grab what supplies we can and... Shit, I don't know how we're going to move you without killing you.
And just sort of Rudy goes to breathe in to sigh, and at some point, like about halfway or 3/4, he kind of sort of winces, like, and kind of coughs, like, oh, neither do I.
I wonder if they had any like bandages or thread and needle downstairs. Maybe we could. Yeah, I might be able to stitch it up a little bit. I've never worked on a wound like that before, but we could at least get you transportable. We'll see what Garrick and Diggs bring up for us.
Oh, yes, those two. And he'd kind of like look around, like, oh, they must be down there. I'm sure his blood is sort of, whatever they're doing, his blood is dripping down on them or into the room somewhere. He's in a pool of it at this point.
Well, I think they're probably finding stuff to bring up because I've heard the sound that can only be a pickaxe against a padlock. So I'm assuming they're breaking into stuff down there.
Hopefully it's more than just good liquor.
And we could use some of that too, though.
You guys would see Garrick's head rising from the staircase here as I'm walking up, and saying, there's a lot down here, including water.
That's good. Any medical supplies, bandages, needle and thread, anything like that? And I kind of look at Rudy and say, I don't think we can move him.
We can probably find something like that down here. There's a lot.
Let's hope so.
And so would Ephraim, are you going to follow him down and try to find some medical supplies?
Yeah, I would definitely rummage around and try to find just basically the basic necessities for getting him so that he can take a mechanical long rest and get some HP back. If we can find some bandages or something.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at this point, either Garrick or Diggs would have probably lit a lantern down there, one of the many, you know. And so there's sort of light here. And as you walk down the stairs, you see this wall, and it sort of catches your eye. And there's a bunch of clutter on it. So there is sort of a long standing desk at the wall, and there are all kinds of papers and ledgers and things like that, and pins and things like that around it. But there's this area in the wall that's got several things pinned to it with little tags. And the reason why you notice it immediately is because it has an insignia that you recognize from your mom's battalion in Lightfall. And so as you look closer at this wall, you see that it looks like the Savick family, at least these thugs or this house, has these sort of very small, not very powerful, but more like tchotchke fallen heroes of Lightfall. You see that the entire wall is covered in just armor, this broken pommel of a sword, this kind of thing. And there are all these labels from these different heroes of Lightfall. One of them in particular catches your eye, and it is this, looks like a coin on a necklace. It just says Carlin. And the rope or chain is affixed to this coin is bloody. And that's hanging on the wall. And then you see some medical supplies and things like that further down.
I would sort of fixate on this coin. I would walk up to it and kind of look at it closer, and I'd look down at the pommel of my sword, and the same symbol is on the bottom of this pommel, the same symbol that I was looking at as I was spinning the sword. And I kind of like look at the two of them. That's weird. And I would kind of pull it off the wall and tuck it away to take it with me and sort of take the rest of the wall in. It's one of those things where I see all of this and it's like, it's too much information for Ephraim to make any sort of hypothesis as to what it means right now. But it's like one of those like, oh, I'm going to think about this later. And he will take the coin with him and scrounge up the bandages and stuff and then head upstairs. And he'll call back to Garrick and Diggs like, I might need some help. I've never done this before.
And Garrick, as you see Ephraim sort of walk over, and you're not stupid. You can kind of make heads and tails of this, but you start recognizing some of the names. You start recognizing some of the names. As a boy, there were people in neighboring towns who would tell stories about these heroes. And you always loved those stories. And your dad didn't really like you listening or talking about them. But you recognize at least a third, maybe more, of the names. But one especially catches your eye. And it's a hook. It looks dull, rusted. For maybe moving or packing meat. It sort of has that wooden grip, and the hook itself is screwed into it, and it's affixed to the wall, and underneath it, it just says Sulain.
And yeah, there was one trader, actually, merchant in particular, who would come to Dustmouth, the town near our mill, and he would tell stories. And I remember him in particular telling the story of this hero who they called the Shadow of Sulain. My eyes kind of, I'm slowly realizing this. The Shadow of Sulain was a menace to the dismembered lord's forces and would swoop in silently, sometimes leaving foes hanging, dead, gutted, stealthy. And yeah, he had hooks and he had daggers. And I kind of pull this hook up and I just look at it, and it takes me right back there. I'm sitting on the edge of a well, as we used to do as kids. Stupid, dangerous, but that's where we used to hang out. And the merchant is there with his wagon, telling stories of the shadow of Sulain.
And you would hear that merchant's tale, and you would hear him sort of talking about it. And the words would echo in your mind, and it says, "And he who holds the hook of Sulain takes on the mantle of Sulain. Maybe one day one of you will find the hook of Sulain." And his words sort of trail off in your mind.
So I kind of tuck it into my belt and just, I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing, but it seems significant.
Is there anything else any of you would like to do or say? So as the blood of one of the Savick family members mingles with this wasted water and drips into the cellar below, it finds a small plaque on that wall. That wall full of items of heroes of Lightfall. As it drips, it finds itself. And it's this plaque that has words on it that you recognize oh so well. These were the immortalized words said to have been spoken by the dismembered lord himself. It was said that these words were an oath, a warning to any who would seek to rise against him. This tarnished plaque on the wall underneath here is the Epitaph of Light. And it reads, "I will destroy all that rise against me, and none who oppose me shall remain. This I swear." And the plaque falls off the wall. You are those that remain, and we're going to end it here.
Dope!
That was awesome. Kick ass, man.
So good.
That was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.